Hello, I'm Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a guest with me. Can you introduce yourself?
Hi, Lisa. My name is Sandra. First of all, Lisa, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you. My channel is From Lack to Legacy. We talk about mindset, money, investing, all things money, all things investing, all things financial, financial literacy and wealth building.
Okay, so my fellow YouTuber, Sandra, I'm so glad to have you on. I love having guests. I love what you're doing. I love seeing someone like me in this space, like you said. So, we've already been talking a little bit behind the scenes, and you said that there's a lot of overlap with my life story and yours. So, tell us a little bit about your upbringing, your experience with money, and what led you to start investing.
Sure, absolutely. I think I'm like every woman or many Black women because I grew up, and I don't even mind telling my age, y'all. I grew up in the 60s. I was born in the 60s. And I wasn't born into a particularly wealthy family. My mom had to work, my father worked, my grandmother, they all worked. There wasn't a lot of money. So there weren't conversations around checking accounts and savings accounts and investment accounts. None of that just wasn't a thing. I think that was a time when my family in particular, they were concerned about surviving. It was just,
Mhm.
can we get the bills paid? Can we take care of these kids? And so you can't ask people to give you what they don't have. And so at some point along the journey, it came to me that, okay, if you don't plan and if you don't do something different, you're going to repeat the same thing. I mean, if you don't do something different, it's really foolish to think that you're going to have a different outcome. And so I knew at some point that I was going to have to be the change. And so for me, I had to seek out this information, how to invest, how to buy property, all of those things. It was really like when the kids say they got it out of the mud, Lisa, I really had to get it out of the mud because nobody was there to give it to me. And so that's a lot of what I hope I'm reflecting back in my channel From Lack to Legacy is that it doesn't matter where you started. It doesn't matter where you are. It does not matter. It only matters that you start. It only matters that you start to get yourself educated. It only matters that you start to invest and and be vigilant about it. I had to take the classes. I had to make financial mistakes not once but twice and come back and recover from that. And so I learned the hard way. I really did.
In what stage of your journey did you feel like you were in the place now that I'm in a good place? I can start to teach my children.
And you know what, Lisa? I don't know that it happened for me like that because, again, I was learning. My mother was a young mom. I was a relatively young mom. I had my first child when I was in college. And so I was still developing along the way.
Okay.
So I think it's been an evolution. Now I talk to my children about money, but even coming up, because I hadn't seen the practice I never sat down and talked to my kids about a checking account or a savings account or how much mommy makes and what the budget looks like. I didn't do it because it wasn't a practice that I saw. It wasn't something that I just didn't do it. But as I became an adult, really grown up, I'm talking about really talking about financial planning, having to have an understanding of what was in my retirement plan and my savings plan at work and all of that stuff. Later, as I came into that knowledge, I would share with my children. It, really, I would say in the last 5 years is when I really started talking to my kids about money. And isn't that, think about it, all that time, I didn't give to them. I didn't know. I did not know. So I am a late bloomer. If that's you, sis, if you're a late bloomer, if you're new to finance, I just want to remove the stigma, the shame. Hey, we all got here. We're here now. It still is a worthwhile endeavor to become financially literate, to invest, all of those things. It doesn't matter your starting point. It doesn't matter the age. So Lisa, in short, to answer your question, I didn't do it either. I was a part of that same cycle of perpetuating this where we just don't talk about money. We just don't talk about it. And it wasn't until I would say in my kids were practically adults before I started talking to them about sound saving, investing, and how to make money work for you. But better late than never.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Better late than never, just like us discovering each other's channels. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so you did mention to me of your grandson.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think his path is going to be with having, a head start and knowledge about investing?
I think that's the beauty of evolution, period, and learning, period, is that each iteration gets better. So where my parents never talked to me about it, I may have spoken to my kids about money and it was a little bit later. Now when I'm trading, I talk to my grandkids. My grandson is literally there. I have two, and one of them has actually been in the room with me when I'm trading. And so I'm talking to him. He's 9 years old. So he's been around and heard me talking about money, you know, since he was 7 years old. So I'm so hopeful that that exposure is going to, bode well for them financially, that they won't have to start so late. So I think that's the gift in all of it, Lisa, in educating ourselves and passing that on, is that each generation gets it just a little bit quicker. Each generation gets a little bit more efficient at it and a little better. So yeah, I'm proud of that my grandchildren won't be 30 before they hear anybody talking to them, about investing.
Okay. I'm hoping to catch one of your live streams. I during 4 days out of the week, I'm working from like 7:30 in the morning till 7:30 at night. So it's hard to get into the lives during the day, and especially if I want to be a part of it and do some trading or options or something like that. Really hard for me at some certain times. But looking forward to checking in on one of your lives coming up pretty soon. Do you have a schedule with that?
Lisa, I am fully retired. I am fully retired and I take full advantage of that. So I live trade, and to be honest, I live trade the way I trade in real life. I don't trade every day. I don't advise that anybody trade every day. I'm watching the market when I feel like, there's something significant happening and it could be beneficial for me. I turn on my computer. So no, I don't have a trading schedule. I don't know if you know this too, but I travel and I'm currently in Thailand. And so the time difference makes it difficult to do live trading.
Okay. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel as well as From Lack to Legacy. Hit the notification bell and don't forget to leave us a comment. So, how would you describe yourself? Are you primarily an investor, trader? What is the mix there?
Lisa, I think I'm probably overall just an investor. I'm an
Okay.
investor. Options came late to me. I've always dabbled at every stage. From the very first, I didn't have a 401k, I have a pension. So as a teacher, we had investment, other things that we could invest in, 403Bs, all kinds of
Hmm.
investment
Hmm.
vehicles. And so I've always done that. And so that had primarily been my early exposure to stocks and investing. Um, I was that girl that when the prospectus came, you know how they send out the quarterly the earnings report. The earnings report would come in the mail and I would do this because I didn't know how to read it. I knew I should be investing, and so I that was a part of my habit, was to just have that money automatically deducted. But Lisa, I didn't know what was going on with that money. I didn't even really understand the earnings statement. And it weighed on me because if you're smart enough to know you should be investing, then you're smart enough to know you at least ought to know what you're investing in. And I knew that I didn't know, and I knew that I shouldn't be hiding my eyes when the prospectus came in the mail. And so that was one of the things. I just didn't want to be ignorant about it anymore. I did not want to throw that packet away every time and hope and pray that the people who were in charge of my money were doing the right thing and that they were doing the right thing for me. So that started me on a journey of really just researching the companies. I'm just researching my own stuff. And
Okay.
one thing led into another. It just snowballed into another thing. And It led me, some years down the line to options trading because I wanted to understand how to read those charts. I didn't even know that I started, Lisa, with the intention of trading options for real. I wanted to understand how to get in the game. I wanted to understand what those little candlesticks and all that stuff meant because the people who were handling my money, they knew. Why I think I need to know too. And I encourage everybody, learn, even if you never trade options or you never trade a stock, learn to read that chart because you can trade anything once you learn the skill. You can trade Forex, crypto, you can trade stocks, options. You don't have to focus on options. Options can be pretty risky, but just getting that skill under your belt, that's what I really wanted. I wanted the knowledge and I wanted the skill because I knew that there was a game going on out there. There was a financial game going on and I was locked out. Not because I wasn't worthy, not because I didn't have money to play the game, not because I didn't have the capacity. It was because I was unknowledgeable. I just
Mhm.
didn't know and I didn't like that feeling.
So before we move on, can you talk a little bit about like the percentage of stop loss? What do you trade on? Does it have a trailing stop loss? How do you kind of manage the risk?
Lisa, again, I started about a year ago. I took my first active live trade. I don't even think it's been a year. It was November of last year. So it's a work in progress for me. So really on my channel, I don't teach people to trade. They're taking the
No,
trading
no, I'm
journey
not.
with me.
Mhm. No, but
Yeah,
you personally, can you give me like a percentage that
mhm.
your tolerance of?
I am not a very risky trader. I am not a risky investor. I am risk averse. And I always try to mitigate my loss. Of course, I always try to trade with a stop loss in place. And generally I do two things, one or two things. I will go into a trade with a set amount that I'm willing to sacrifice for that trade. So I might say it depends on what I'm trading. I could go in with the intent of I'm willing to risk $100 on this trade to let this trade work itself out. If I get to the place where I'm down $100 and the trade doesn't look like it's going to go my way, I'm out. I'm cutting it one way or the other. So sometimes I go in with a dollar amount that I'm willing to risk on that
Mhm,
trade. Other times I'll go in and I'll set a percent stop. And again, that depends on how much of the investment, how much the stock cost. And so, generally, as a rule, I try to keep it under 10%. Nobody wants to, we're in business to make money. We are not in this, nobody invests with the intent to lose money. So, I'm probably a little more conservative than some investors, but I'm in it for the long haul. In particular, with options, I don't trade them every day. And I use those to generate income. That's how I use options trading to generate income. I take the proceeds from my options, successful options trades, and then I use that money to invest in long term things like
okay.
ETFs, index funds.
All right. So I did not know until just now that you are retired.
Yes.
I talk about retirement on my channel. I encourage people to be prepared to focus on investing into their 401k, stay on track with it because Social Security, pension isn't going to be enough. How
Mm-mm.
do you have a plan on how you're going to supplement your income? Will you need to supplement your income? What are your expenses looking like? And how do you see, what the future is going to look like for yourself? So, how did your saving and planning for retirement go for you?
Lisa, I say this all the time. I am not a financial guru. What you see before you is a cautionary tale. I am the person, again, because I did not come from money. I did not come from a family where we talked about any of this stuff. So I'm learning as I'm going. And I always knew, I think just by default, I always knew that I needed to put money aside. So I'd always done that. But in terms of becoming actively involved in the planning and structuring of my retirement, Lisa, I can't lie. It was really by happenstance. I just put enough things in place that I was able to retire at 55. When the pandemonium came, everything lined up. I happened to be approaching 55 at that time. The world stopped. It gave me a
Mhm,
chance to
mhm.
pivot. I think if anything, it was the greatest pivot of all pivots. It was a natural time to stop and say, "Hey, let me assess my finances. Am I in a position where I can walk away from this job?" I had been in my home for almost 25 years, so I had the equity there. I had always, in addition to my pension, been putting just a little bit aside. For me, not nearly enough. I would think, in hindsight, I could have put aside so much more had I known, but it was enough. It was enough between the proceeds from the house, my own side investments, and my pension. I'm able to sustain myself because
Okay.
those simple things, putting money aside in addition to my pension, having that investment, the property, and when I sold my house, thank God that was a nice little chunk of change to send me out into the world. And then I began to create other streams of income for myself. So of course my YouTube channel, I've monetized my YouTube channel. I'm still teaching, and so a part of the service that I offer is a one-on-one consultation that brings in additional income.
Mhm.
So I just believe in, investing. I have my pension. I have a couple other sources of income. It's those multiple streams of income that allow me to live the life that I'm living. So I did just enough. I'm not that girl. I'm not sitting on $7 million, but I am comfortable.
You feel that you could have gone harder if you would have
I
known.
could I
You
could
could have.
have gone harder and should have gone harder. And that's what I want sisters to know. Don't be like me. Don't be the cautionary tale at 55 saying, man, I made it, but dang, I could have made it out of the game with so much more. I want sisters to start stacking those coins now. You don't need that purse. You don't need that extra pair of shoes. Take it from me. You don't need that Gucci belt. You don't. Invest that money instead. You can thank me later.
Oh, the Gucci belt.
You don't need it.
I won't get into my story about my Gucci belt right now. So in building your portfolio, what mistakes did you make in retrospect that you could share? Just one. If you could eliminated this obstacle, what would you share with someone that they could just don't do this? You don't have to make the mistake I already did.
Oh, Lisa, so many mistakes. I promise you. That's how I learned. I was going to say, here's something that I wouldn't advise anybody do. And I did it not once, I think I did it twice. I took a withdrawal from a pre tax dollar savings plan. I used that money that was set aside pre tax. I took that money out and bought a car. So I took money out of a tax deferred plan to purchase a depreciating asset. Now, that's not the dumbest thing I've ever heard anybody do. That money was growing, could have sat there and made me tons of money. I wanted gratification. That was me. Because so many other things were in upset and tumult in my life. And I thought buying a car was going to make everything better. Just like I thought buying all those shoes and those purses was going to make me feel better. None of that stuff made me feel better. Took a loan out, paid interest, buy a car to pay more interest on another loan. Like maybe you don't have liquid cash and you see, well, I've got these investments over here. I can take a little withdrawal. I can give myself a, don't do it. Don't do it.
You went deep in sharing all of that information. I appreciate that. I did not twist your arm for that information,
No. And Lisa,
but
I
I
promise you, I'm not even ashamed of it anymore. Now that I know better, I hope that anybody else who's in the same position could see how logically this is a very bad move. It's the most unsound financial decision I think you can make is to take money that is growing tax deferred and then use that money to purchase a depreciating asset. And I can't be the only one that did not understand the tax ramifications.
all right. So now, can you share some of your favorite stocks? How do you build your portfolio?
Lisa, I think in terms of anybody's portfolio, you want to look for diversification. You always want to try to stay diversified. And I'm talking about a holistic picture in terms of having stocks, bonds, savings, liquid cash, having real estate. I just think the more you can diversify your portfolio, the better off you are. And again, for me, my situation is a little different in that I am post retirement. So a lot of those active things that I was doing, in my 30s, 40s, and 50s have paid off. They've panned out. So if you don't have real estate as a part of your portfolio, certainly consider it. I personally had a single family home. If I had it to do again, I would have gotten an income property. If I was advising my children, I would say certainly get a piece of property that generates income for you, not just one that you derive pleasure from. I would certainly say make ETFs and index funds a big part of your portfolio. Again, something set it and forget it. You really, it's almost mindless. You can do a little bit of research. There's so many great ETFs out there that have great track records. You can look up, their earnings over the last 20 years. Just find some place to park that money and then create other streams of income. So that's where I am at this stage in the journey for me. Now it's about creating multiple streams of income because I did the real estate. I invested, my 401. I didn't have a 401k. I had a retirement plan. And so that was kind of even set it and forget it. You pick the plans that you want your money to be invested in, you set it and forget it. So definitely real estate, stocks, bonds, cash on hand. You just want to be diversified.
So I put out a video the other day, my top performing stocks and ETFs in my Webull portfolio. And I
Mhm.
think you said that after you saw that video, you decided to email me. What was it about that video that made you say, I want to reach out to Lisa?
Lisa, because I think ETFs are an easy way for everybody to get in on the game. And I was like, yes, we speak the same language. I think most of us, when we think investing, we think stocks. We hear Apple, we hear FANG, we hear Apple, Amazon. We know those names, Tesla. And that's primarily what we think. But I would not advise a new investor to start with single stocks. I would say, particularly if you have very limited knowledge, an easy way and a safer way would be to invest in an ETF. Just find you a good one. Find one, Schwab. I don't want to advise you on which one, but so when I heard you talking ETFs, I was like, oh yeah, we talk the same language. So that was what kind of drew me out. And I was looking at your portfolio. I have VTI. Um, I'm a Q girl. I like the Qs and SPY. So those are the top performing ETFs. I don't give financial advice, but those are the ones I am funding and feeding my money into. So yeah, when I saw your list, I was like, okay, let me check Lisa out.
So you don't find the expense ratio on the SPY to be a little high?
Lisa, I'm gonna be honest with you. I probably do more trading in and out of
Ratings?
SPY.
Okay.
SPY is not my
Okay.
favorite. I think I like to use SPY as an income generator.
All right.
I can do
Thank you for specifying that because I didn't mean to put you on the spot with that, but I find it strange when people are dollar cost averaging into the SPY as opposed to VTI or
options.
VOO because of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
But
and I don't want to front because I think I've told everybody I am not a financial guru. What I run over on my channel is it's a learning community, and so these kinds of questions, no, I don't feel put on the spot at all. You know what happens, Lisa, when somebody says something like that to me, and if I don't know or if I feel unsure, girl, as soon as the camera is off, I'm researching.
okay,
I
okay.
am trying to figure out all of this is learning for me. And I think I have found like my second passion. There isn't anything, if you say something to me and I don't know, I don't go like, I think that's what stops us. It's that shame of not knowing. We're ashamed to say in front of folks and anybody else, girl, I don't know. That's my favorite line in the whole wide world. Girl, I don't
You know
know.
what?
Let's
If
find
you
out
don't
together.
Yeah, if you don't know, don't let that hold you back. figure it out. Let us figure it out because we are going to invest.
Not only that, Lisa, say it out loud, because I promise you there's someone around you. If you set the intention that you want to become more financially literate and you want to be more financially stable, whatever your intention is, I promise you, if you set that intention and you start talking, those people are going to find you. So I think when we cloak, like for you to ask me about the expense ratio, I could be trying to fumble through like, yep, girl, I don't know. But guess what? I will know at the end of the day, because you pose that question to me. And I'm vulnerable enough to be able to say, I'm not sure about that. I think it's that thing, that little switch in our mindset, that it is okay to not know. It's just not okay to stay in that space. It's not okay to not know forever. It's okay that you don't know today. I don't know, but we're going to set an intention that what we don't know, we're going to learn. And I think the teacher in me, the old teacher in me, just won't let that go, because I know that that's the key, Lisa. So much of why Black women don't invest is because we don't know. And we're ashamed at 40 and 50 to say, I don't know. And I've been over here, faking the funk all this time. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay that you don't know. I don't know, but we'll learn it together.
Well, thank you for clearing that up. And I get criticism. I've had people make comments of, why am I investing into VTI and VT and VOO? It's redundant, So everybody has to make their own choices. The way that you're doing it is the way that I would have expected, but thanks for elaborating. So Sandra, and before we close this out for today, is there anything you want to share? Is there any goals, achievements that you have accomplished that you would like to share with us?
Lisa, I think if I could say anything, is I would hope that anybody out there watching who looks like me, who feels like me, would say, well, wait a minute. If Sandra can do it, definitely I can do it. I do want everybody to walk away with that if I can do it, coming from such humble beginnings,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing, I'm talking about coming from totally just not talking anything about money, to arriving at a place where I could retire at 55. I can travel the world. I can live the life that I want because I was able to create that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's never too late. You all, I made all the mistakes. I made them all. I made some of them twice. I was a late starter. I didn't start in my 20s. If I can do this, this is totally doable. But the beginning part, the where you have to start is becoming educated. You can't do what you don't know. And when you know better, we do better. And that is my whole mission with From Lack to Legacy, is to, number one, let's address the mindset that we really have to take the blinders off. This is no longer going to cut it. You've got to open up your eyes. You're going to have to look at the numbers, and we are going to have to put forth a plan, a solid plan to get you investing in blue chip companies. Lisa, you said this. I don't believe in anything risky. We're talking about well established Fortune 500 companies. But certainly, if I can do it, if I can do just enough so that I can position myself to live comfortably, you can certainly do way more than me. And we're willing to help you and share information with you.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And I agree with everything that you just said. If we can do it, you can too. Please know that. It's not that hard. And any dollar amount that you can start off with, don't let that hold you back. Whatever it is, just get started. Just get started and you can do it. You can do it.
Lisa, that was another thing. You did a challenge, and that was another one of your videos. I was like, yep, that sounds like a winner too. Didn't you do an investment challenge where you were investing, I think it was $5, $10 every day?
I'm still doing that every day. VTI, $10 a day over in my portfolio on public. So
Mm-hmm.
coming up next month, it's going to be a year of $10 a day. Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm telling you, $10 a day. We spend that on lunch and coffee.
Yes, yes, definitely. I can't go to Chipotle or anywhere else without spending $10. So guys, please don't forget, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe to my channel, check out Sandra's channel, from lack to legacy, and leave us a comment. Let us know what we shared tonight that resonated with you. Share your experience. Are you retired? Did you plan enough? Are you living the life that you thought you would in retirement? Are you able to give guidance to your children, your grandchildren? Just leave us a comment and let us know what you thought of this discussion tonight. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule, out of your life to do this with me tonight, Sandra. Guys, don't forget to hit the like button. All right. Okay, bye.
Bye bye.